quick tutorial on using Socrative. Socrative is a web-based service, so it is not unique to the iOS device, though there is an iOS app and an Android app. It can also be accessed from any mobile device using the website. You're looking at the website right now, and I would go to Teacher Login to log into my Socrative account. Once I'm logged in, I have a variety of menus to choose from. We're going to take a look at the bottom first, although that seems a little counterintuitive, because that's where your profile is. So you have your profile, so if I click on my profile, I can do things like change the email address associated with my account, change my password, and more importantly, I can change the room number. So by default, Socrative is going to issue me this random like 6 or 7 digit number. That doesn't necessarily work for me, especially if it's something that I want my students to get used to using all the time. So if you click on change room number, you can customize your room number. Now, it is important that you choose a room number that is going to be very unique to you. So it's great that you teach in room 302, but you're not the only teacher on the planet who teaches in 302. So it may be a good idea to change your room number to maybe the first 3 letters of your last name, 302, or GBW 302, just so that you can differentiate that it's your room and not somebody else's. And if you do put in a room number that someone else is using, it can get a little confusing. There's more information here and some tips. And you can have letters and numbers, a combination, or you could make it your name, whatever it is that you want to do. So mine is GBS iPad. You can edit your teacher information. You can do a little training tour, so that's kind of nice. There's a whole help file there available to you, and that's all under my profile. Okay, back to our main screen. We're going to take a look first at single question activities. So single question activities are verbally delivered by the teacher, and it's a single question that you would ask your students to respond to on the fly. So you have a multiple choice option, a true-false option, and a short answer option. So if I click multiple choice, this is what it's going to look like. So right now I have 0 votes, but I have 1 student in the room, which I can see here, and I'm waiting for responses. So I'm going to go ahead and shift my iPad over so you can see what that looks like. So this is what the student side would look like. So all they have is a 5 choice, multiple choice answer that's really not customizable. So I, as the teacher, would have asked them, do you think it's A, B, C, or D? And I would have given them some kind of verbal question. So the student responds, and then the teacher would see that response on the computer. So I can see as the teacher that there was 1 response for C. So it's a really good way to do a quick poll, but it is all verbal. So there's no text on the student's screen. You have to kind of tell them what you want them to answer. So it's good for multiple choice, true, false, or a quick short answer. Back in our main screen, the bulk of what you'll do in Socrative is create, edit, and import quizzes. So click on Manage Quizzes, and this will take you to a screen where you can either create a quiz or import a quiz, and we'll talk about how to import a quiz in a minute. I'm going to click Create a Quiz. My quiz name I need to type in, and you want to consider naming conventions when you create your quizzes. By default, when you go into managing your quizzes, Socrative is going to alphabetize your choices, so just keep that in mind. The sharing option allows you to share your Socrative quiz with other teachers. Enabling sharing will allow you to get an SOC number that then you can give to another teacher or teachers, and they can import this quiz into their own Socrative account and then edit it, delete questions, add questions, use it as they need to without affecting your quiz. So it's really nice to be able to share so that everybody can have it, but not everybody's going to be editing it at the same time. So it basically makes a copy. Once you've got the name and the sharing set up, if you would like to use it, you can choose either multiple choice or short answer. So I'm going to click on multiple choice, and you'll see I have a space to enter my question. I can add an image to a question as well. So I have a picture on my computer that I'm going to use. And then I would put in my answer choices. If this is not a poll but is in fact a quiz, you would want to check off the correct answer. And you can include an explanation so that if the student answers correctly or incorrectly, they will get this feedback. So that's important to give students feedback. The next type of question is a short answer question. And again, you would type in your question. You may add an image if you like, and then you would add in answers. So you can leave this blank if it's going to be completely subjective and you don't want Socrative to score it for you, Or if you want, you can enter correct answers that are separated by a comma. It is not case sensitive, so you should know that, but spelling does matter. So if it's plural or singular, you would want to put in all correct answer possibilities separated by a comma. If you have multiple questions in a quiz, you can reorder your questions using the arrow buttons. So I can arrow up to make that question appear first, or I can arrow down to make it appear second. And then obviously the red circle with the white X is going to delete the question. When I'm finished with my quiz, I would click Save at the bottom. And now that quiz will show up in my account. I can always edit the quiz, duplicate the quiz, or delete the quiz by choosing it from the drop-down menu and choosing one of these options. In this screen, I can always retrieve a previous quiz report. So Socrative saves all of my quiz reports that I've allowed to create a report in my account, and then I can send them or download them. Here under Import Quiz, this is where a teacher could use a Socrative number. So if I click on Import Quiz, I can import a shared quiz and enter the Socrative number that another teacher has given me, and it will create a copy of that quiz in my account. I can also import quizzes from Excel, so Socrative provides an Excel template. There's more information here, so if you need to do that, be sure to read through this information. When I'm ready to actually run a quiz with my class, what I'll do is I will choose Start Quiz. Then I will choose the quiz that I want to run and how I want to run it. So I can either choose a student-paced quiz, which means the students will advance through the questions at their own pace, or a teacher-paced quiz. So that means that you control the question. You can randomize the answer choices, you can disable feedback if you want, and you can hide question explanations, though I'm not sure why you would hide explanations if you're doing a formative assessment. You probably want to give the students feedback. So if I were to do this as a student-paced quiz, I would give my students the room number and I would ask them to log in. So on my student's iPad, the first question it's going to ask them is for their name. Then you can see that it's going to run through the questions that I put in my quiz. So this is giving the student feedback that the answer was correct, and it also is displaying the explanation text that I entered. And then I have a short answer. And then the student hits Finish Quick Quiz, and then I, as the teacher, can view the results. Now I can view these live. If you are viewing these live, you probably don't want to have this up on your projector because it will show the student's name, what question that they're on, and how many correct answers they received. Now, because one of those questions was subjective, obviously it's not going to grade that for me because I didn't put in a subjective answer option. So I left it as a free response. So it only will grade the ones that I put in an answer for. And then at the end of the class or the end of the activity, you would choose End Activity. And here I could download my report, and that will come through as an Excel file. I can also choose to have it emailed to me, but I'm going to go ahead and download it so that you can see what this looks like. So it will show me in an Excel file the student's name, what they answered, and it will do conditional formatting, so correct answers will be marked in green and incorrect answers will be marked in red. And then obviously subjective questions won't be marked correct or incorrect. And it will give you the total score and the number of correct answers in the columns. So that was a student-paced quiz. I can run the same quiz as a teacher-paced quiz. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that quiz again, and I'm going to choose teacher-paced quiz, which means I'm going to be able to control when the students receive the question and when they respond. So I'm on question 1 of 3, so let me pull my student iPad over so that you can see that. So the student is being asked to enter their name. If you go in and edit your quiz also, if you want to take the name out, you can, just so you know. And so now it's going to wait for the teacher to send the question. I'll move that out of the way so you can see I'm viewing the live results here. There's just one student in the room. And then I would choose Send Next Question to Students. Now it's waiting for responses. I'm going to pull my student iPad over so that you can see. The student will answer. The student will get feedback just like in a student run quiz. And then I as a teacher can see the immediate feedback. So I can see one student has answered with that. I can go to a previous question, which I cannot do in the student version. So just keep in mind that when I am in the student-paced quiz, once the student submits a response to that question, it's going to automatically advance and the student cannot go back and forth. So now the teacher has sent the next question to the student, and then the student will hit finish at the end. The teacher can view the live results. So the teacher can see that this student answered their short answer question. And then when we're finished, we would hit end activity. Again, we can download the report and view that as an Excel file. So it's still going to do the conditional formatting for correct and incorrect answers, and it's still going to show you the short answers and the correct answers and total score. The last opportunity that you have is to use a quiz as a space race, which is a game. So if I click space race, I will be able to choose my quiz, and then I can choose the number of teams I want to use, and I can auto assign team colors. So it's going to randomly select different students in the room and assign them a color. Typically what most teachers do is assign the colors themselves because they already have kids in cooperative learning groups and they know what kids they want to work together. So you would need to tell the kids which color they would be. I only have one student in the room, so I'm just doing one team here. I would choose next, and then the student would choose their team. So if there were multiple teams, they would have multiple colors available, so the student chooses their team. And then the teacher would start the activity. So I would need to, as a teacher, click Start Space Race. And then the student is in control of the pacing here. So the student would enter their name. Sometimes I take this question out when I'm doing a space race because it holds them up, and usually it's a cooperative learning activity and I don't necessarily need to know the names of the kids on there. So now the student is going to answer, and I'm going to kind of put these next to each other so you can sort of see it. So the student is going to answer, and if the student answers correctly, the rocket ship will move across the screen. Now there's only one question on there. If there were multiple questions, then obviously the rocket ship wouldn't move all the way across at once. The teacher ends the activity. You can again download a report. I'm going to choose no report for this, and then I'm back to my home screen. Those are pretty much all the basics of using Socrative Teacher. I just want to show you really quickly, you're looking at Socrative on a computer desktop, so you're looking at the mobile site. On the iPad, here's my iPad that's being mirrored, it pretty much looks the same. So you can choose to create quizzes and run quizzes from your iPad, or you can do it from the computer, and it's pretty much the same experience. Some teachers find that they really like to create the quizzes on the computer and then run them from the iPad so that they can be mobile. That's totally doable. You would just need to make sure that you're using the Socrative Teacher app and not the Socrative Student app. So notice that I have Student and Teacher. So two different apps. The Student app is for joining a room and participating in activities, and the Teacher app is for creation and running of quizzes. Also, just a quick couple of management tips. You can change your room number at any time. So say you wanted a different room number for one class period than you did for another. You can do that at any time by changing your profile. Some teachers like to flip back and forth among 3 or 4 room numbers, just depending on what they're doing. That's totally doable. You can also clear a room. So under my account, you can clear the room of all users. That's good to do at the end of a class period or the end of an activity. And then obviously you can log out of Socrative. In addition to the resources that are part of here, so there's some help files within Socrative itself, check out the Socrative Garden. So if you go to Socrative.com and you click on blog at the top, that will take you to the Socrative Garden. And there are lots of blog posts and ideas for ways to use Socrative in the classroom, so be sure to check that out as a resource. Thanks so much.